this is gonna be one of my last couple videos. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it is now because a lot of reasons, but mainly I really have to like do some other stuff and figure some other stuff out right quick, or at least I guess I could say right quick. But hold up, because I'm choking on something. Anywho, so I had to change the title of my other video. That's now, well, I changed the title a couple of times anyways, just little bits and pieces here and there, but the main title now is My Soul for You. I can't even really remember the rest of it, to be honest. It was one out of 3 reasons why I haven't KMS'd yet, but I feel like the title was just going to make people miss the actual point, and was making people miss the actual point of the video. The actual point of the video, just like I said in a post that I recently made, because I was watching this video about how a guy was trying to make his own operating system from scratch, and the comments there actually, I feel like they're a good explanation of what I was trying to say when I was talking about how like the industry, well not even the industry, everything is really gate kept, like everything is put in place to keep that certain group of people at the top, and like things are so gate kept to where you can't even really figure out like a step-by-step guide on how to do things like that, like create an operating system, and that's just the bare minimum. But the point I was getting at in the video is that still with the technology that they're now starting to release to the public to push for the, was it the 5th or the 6th industrial revolution? I can't even remember. But all of that stuff that goes along with the NWO and the B system technology, the tech that they're releasing now, especially with the AI that's being released now, which is better than what they last had out, because people think this stuff was new. Of course it's not. All technology that you see now is well over 30 years old. But as I mentioned before, me and my older scapegoat sister used to talk to chatbots, of course, because that's what you do when you're lonely and disregarded. But I hadn't done that since I was about 7 or 10. It was one of those. As far as my older scapegoat sister, it was definitely some years ago. But what's out now is definitely way better. Like, that other stuff was just too eerie and no good responses. But anywho, before I go into that little rant, point is, it's easier to find a lot of info and figure out how to do more things now. And that makes a lot of things easier. That's the point I was getting at. I did have to like speed a lot of stuff up because storage space stuff and trying to actually like put the video together on InShot but still have the pictures at 380p so they're visible. So you'd have to slow it down in the YouTube settings for some parts, but that's the main point. And overall, that whenever I do think about giving up or running off into the forest somewhere, which I mean, a lot of people are going to have to do anyways. I remember, like, I have to figure out what I could do to get in a position where I could help myself and help other people. Because I think what I also mentioned in my last couple videos, and pretty much like all the time, is that I mean, people are made to feel like getting out the abuse situation is like the end-all be-all. And I think we do have to do a certain amount of magical thinking and lying to ourselves to actually make ourselves feel like once we get out, a lot of things are going to fall in place and we're going to figure out and achieve a lot of things we want to achieve right away, or whenever we're able to, or we're done laying low or whatever. But that's not really how that works. But I can't remember what I was even saying, but I think I was getting at, I don't even know, I forgot, as usual. But point is, like, I mentioned things like projects and building stuff. And yeah, for some of those things there'll still be little issues around it, but like now it's way easier due to AI. That's the point I was getting at. Due to AI, a lot of the project ideas that I've had that have been pretty difficult because one, lack of skill when it comes to coding, and also some things with like money in the situation. Now it's still a lot easier, and it's like just the research I've been doing, because I'm about to edit and upload a video about why I'd rather be in an area with a lower homeless population, or maybe I'm going to title it homeless tips part ? Because I don't know. It may be like the 5th part or something, I don't know. But anywho, in that video I mentioned how like now I'm in a place where I have like a good, safe library to go to, and I don't have to worry about Abbott and Allied and police staring me in my face and different things like that I go into in that video, because I'm not going to go all the way into that. So I've been able to focus even more on coding and just researching different stuff. And I'm not going to lie, I knew a guy, a computer science teacher, and I remember how he would talk about using AI to help you with coding. And I mean, I had been using AI already for a couple of years when it came to like different, I guess I could call it like face editing type art stuff I would make, and different things like that with Canva and other stuff like that, because I don't know what else to say. Since I think 14 more so. No, not more so. That's when I started really. But I wish that I would have used it when it came to coding and learning how to code, and even learning a couple other things a long time ago. But I was really against like really using AI and using chatbots. And I mean, I know just like someone told me that it's a demon, but it's like, I mean, you have to save yourself, and you have to do what you have to do, and use researching tools and use the tools of your generation, I guess I could say, to figure out things to help yourself. You can't, like, I don't know what to say about it. Like, when I say this whole you have to save yourself thing, of course people with cognitive dissonance or people who are just in la la land or just have never been in a really bad situation are going to come out the woodwork saying, well, that's not true because there's shelters, there's CPS, there's your neighbor, and different bullcrap like that. But I know people are always going to feel however they're going to feel about this, but for the people out there who are really in situations you really know that there is no help, and you're not playing stupid dum-dum, then, like, you know that realistically, I'm not just saying you have to save yourself until we save each other to, like, be this bitter, angry person. Because to be truthfully honest, I don't even know what I was about to say there. I'm not just saying it to be this bitter, angry person. I'm saying it because it's realistic, and once you get that, you can continue to work on the things you need to work on to be able to fix your own life situations and figure out how to get in the position that you want to be in. That's the main point with that. If you keep pretending that some savior is going to come fall out the sky, or that, I don't know, when whatever's happening to you, that like the neighbor's going to one day call the police and the police are going to actually do something, or that your neighbor's going to come save, any of that stuff, none of that stuff is real. None of that stuff is realistic. You're just going to keep getting worse and worse. Hold on, because I'm kind of blowing my nose and stuff right now. But anywho, you're just going to get worse and worse, and you're going to end up with more and more issues. And I mean, realistically, I don't even know how to summarize this, but so in one video that I made, I don't know how long ago, don't even remember what the title was, I was going over different posts, and somebody had made a post and they said something like, has anybody else since being homeless started to not give a crap about other people complaining to you about their issues and what they have going on, or something like that. And in the video I said that for me personally, I haven't stopped caring about what other people have going on. I really don't feel a lot of emotion, but that's because of other stuff anyways. But I definitely didn't stop caring. But what it has made me do is be even more, I don't even know how to put it, realistic about the reality that a lot of people are too scared to really save themselves. Because, I mean, there are a lot of laws put in place and a lot of risks with that. I mean, even just the fact that really there's always going to be something, and then, like I talk about in every bad situation, really in every situation, people have a new excuse to treat you like crap. And like you're getting abused in the previous situation, but then once you're out here, you're also treated like crap because now you're a quote-unquote bum, and also now you're seen as an easy target and up for grabs for essay, which, I mean, depending on your situation, you really already were, even when you were with your abuser, so that doesn't really make much of a difference. But realistically, unless you were like already full-blown being trapped or something, as far as like on the sexual type, once you're out here, you are more visibly open and up for grabs, even compared to in your, or at least in my previous abuse situation. Because I know like a lot of people are in like isolated situations these days, and there's a lot I could say about that, but I know the risks with it to get to the point, but me getting out here and saving myself has helped me to like be less, I don't even like the word pity, but I'm just going to use it because I don't know what to say. It's helped me pity people less who are scared, or at least certain people, especially in lower level bullcrap situations, that are scared to save themselves and to run away or do whatever or whatever. It's made me be less, I don't know, it's made me feel less pity to those people. I don't know how else to put it. Hopefully that made sense. And so, another part to that is like, I don't know how to say it, just like, I don't know, I mention this stuff all the time, like everything I've said for years on it has fallen on deaf ears, and like, that's why at the end of the day, though, people are going to do what they want to do and believe whatever they want to believe, and you got to focus on you. In fact, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot that also goes back to the whole there's help out there, or talk to an adult, whatever that means, different stuff like that, is you have to, it seems like if you spend all your time, definitely not. How do I put this? Okay, I think I know how to put it now. See, it was making sense in my head earlier. But if you believe in yourself the same way you believe in other people, you will be in a better position probably. But I'm not going to lie, though. I'm not going to like play those games that people like to play. Like that immigrant dude that told me, you're American, you can do anything you want to do. And then a couple months later, he was crying because he realized he was probably going to be stuck homeless for the rest of his life, and he'd only been homeless at that point in time for 4 months for the first time in his life. I'm not trying to be like those people. I'm not trying to be like that cop last December, January, that was making up excuses for why he was helping put kids back in trafficking, and then he was just like, they just have excuses and they just have a victim complex and they can do anything they want to do because this is America. I'm not trying to be like that, but no. What was I saying? Hold up. Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying now. So, what I was getting at is that, I mean, yeah, definitely in certain situations, you don't have control over Jack, and you can be pretty sabotaged. I mean, even when you get out here, especially when you initially get out here and you're laying low, definitely not, but there still are some things you could do, especially depending on, like, your surroundings. Like, I feel like, me ending up in Santa Cruz for the few years, however long that was honestly the best thing that could have happened for me, and the best decision I could have made, especially for initially leaving my previous situation. Like, being at that youth resource center really helped me realize that, like, there are actually nice people out there who do care I don't know what to say about that. But yeah. So, point is, I'm saying it because it's true, not just to try to like make people feel depressed and like there's no hope. Because realistically, you are your hope and you are the hope. Like, and that goes back to the whole thing. People are taught that there's all this different help and mandated reporters out there and that you need to believe in them. No. You need to believe in yourself and of course still Yahweh and your purpose, because it's like that's pretty much all there is. There really is nothing else. And I mean, yeah, if you have like safe people around, but I mean typically that's really not how things are gonna go, especially when you're like born into certain situations. You're not even gonna have the chance to meet safe people, and due to your situation, your trauma symptoms, and people knowing your situation, the people who are safe aren't going to want to be involved in anything you have going on or be around you. I was even talking to this girl about this like a little while ago, and she even said that like people who are actually quote unquote safe and healthy, they don't want to be involved in most people's lives, and because people have so much going on, and like pretty much they don't want to be in the drama. To make a long story short, the same reason people don't adopt, the same reason that only people who are predatory and unsafe are willing to quote unquote help people and bring people into their house and adopt kids and different stuff like that. And everybody's pretty much half safe anyways. And so the point is, whenever like I just start to get lost and confused, I remember myself and then the other people in their situations. And it is still really upsetting to like hear people talk about different things that are about to happen to them, especially when it comes to the human cash cow systems, and knowing there's not anything I can do to help right now. And I mean, I still haven't even really beat the systems myself. Like, I used to feel like just running away and getting out was like beating the systems, but actually that's a huge part, but that's not it. Like, I'm still pretty much in the human cash cow system because I'm in the homeless industrial complex. And I'm not saying that like just being happy with getting out your situation isn't the end all be all, because I mean a lot of foster kids, whether they've aged out or not, because as I always say, being in CPS custody is being homeless, and a lot of kicked out people, runaways, they do like get stuck homeless for the rest of their life. And sometimes just like accepting that you got out and now you have control over your environment is the end all be all, and you can become like a nomad or a vagabond or something like that. But that's really not for everybody. And then there's still a lot of stuff with that, because like I get really sick indoors that I really don't have the health for like all the nomadic stuff anyways. But I'm still, I mean, most people are going to end up having to do that, or just dying because they can't take care of themselves with like the coming systems. So I mean, pretty much you're either gonna have to know how to be a nomad or just die. But still, like, if I just focus on that though, then I'm forgetting all the other people and all the things that I'm supposed to do. Because I mean, you know, a lot of people, you go through the brainwashing and you lose touch with yourself more and more throughout your life. But when you're like a baby or infant, or at least for some people, you still have your memories of like pre-birth, before you were sent to earth. You still know like what you're supposed to do. Like for me personally, I always mention, I even knew I was going to end up out here because I had maladaptive daydreams about it, and I always saw myself running away right before the tribulation took off and being homeless. I always saw that. Pretty much everything that's happened in my life, I saw happen since pretty much being a toddler. And you know, you're already what's going to happen is already programmed into you. And so I can't just like give up like that, because then I'm just saying screw all the other people. And that's what really helps me to stop splitting. Although splitting is really because of like the iatrogenic metabolic issues, and having blood sugars that are too low for my brain and cognitive ability to like work, and that actually triggers what's it called? Pretty much like a splitting in what's the word? Defense mode for my brain, since it can't really function because my blood sugar is always at 50. And then there's isolation side too as well that I noticed a long time ago, but that's not even really the point. More so, the point is that I don't want people to miss the point. That's the point. And like, I'm gonna keep trying to focus on projects and different things like that to get in a position where I'm able to help myself and help other people. Because like, I can't just forget about everybody and act like, I mean, I can't forget about myself either, but like, for me, like, I don't really mind running off into the woods or whatever. I mean, I kind of already have to do that anyways in my situation. Although I haven't, I've been in the city for a couple of months now because I've been working on things. Pretty much I come to the city whenever I have to work on stuff, and I haven't had any money to go anywhere else, which honestly I feel is a good thing, because I probably would have been left. Especially when that whole Shane Shomo police stuff happened. I would have definitely hopped on the bus and got out of here right when that took off. But I'm going to keep focusing on that, and that was really my point. I mentioned different projects and different things that I had like made or wanted to make, and how like I was thinking about whether I should keep doing it or whether I should just like disappear. That was really the point. That's why my original title for the video was going to be, should I keep trying, or something like that. In fact, yeah, that's what it was going to be, but I have like a couple title names in my head often, which is why I put like multiple things for the title. And that's what I want people to like keep in mind. Because like, I do feel like the title is probably really gonna just send people's mind somewhere else that I really didn't want it to go, because I really want people to focus on the point. I know that like a lot of people are probably lurkers, probably even like, I mean, I already know some people here are law enforcement, because they tell on themselves, well, some of them. Most of them wouldn't, obviously. But then there's like other lurkers, of course. But that's what I want people to know. And also, I was supposed to make a video a long time ago. I did make a short, but not a full video, about things I was going to start focusing on. In fact, no, I could throw this in here as well. So, in my earlier days in Santa Cruz, well, no. I would say like, well, okay, yeah, let me just keep going. I started to think more about investing in the stock market and different stuff like that. I had actually been interested in like crypto and researching crypto for a really, really long time. And one thing I will keep telling people is that really with the AI stuff, it's really easier to like find out a lot of things. Of course, everything it says isn't true though, but I'm saying like as far as getting, how do I put this? Like more so like machine learning platforms where you can like build your own machine learning thing or bot or whatever it's called. Still not all that good with the terminology, but that AI coding, asking AI for help with your code. Like that's where I found out more research about how to use GitHub actually. Because actually no, I used to really not understand GitHub, and just like since the 7th or 8th, I really get how to use GitHub now, and I've been so confused about how to use that for well over a year now. Although I will say that like, I think a big part is probably that I was trying to use it on a phone as well. But yeah, so there was that. But I was gonna say I wanted to learn more about like trading and investing, and then I asked for a book about it from the Youth Resource Center, and I think it may have been like one of the Christmas donations back when I was in Cali. And I remember my case manager lady, or I think it was her, she was like, hopefully you get a rich Santa Cruzian to get you some gifts. Because there was like this thing at the Youth Resource Center, really at all the different youth resource and foster care programs, where like during the holidays they would have this donation thing and people could donate stuff. And I got a couple books. I don't remember what all of them were, but I know, in fact, no, I think I do. I asked for a book about the stock market and investing. I asked for a book about programming. Yeah, that's what it was actually. And I think that was in like 2023 or 2024, or maybe, no, it couldn't have been 2025, because that would have been, yeah, so I guess 2023 or both. I don't even know. Anywho, I read the book and then I got really spooked, and then I was like, yeah, never mind. And I feel like that delayed me. And it kind of sucks because I kind of wish I would have like started doing more research and doing more things back when I had more money, more so, and I was in a place where like I was able to make more money, and like it wasn't all that, but like selling books and the different work I would do, pretty much that just worked out better when I was there, and none of that stuff was stuff that would really work here. And so, oh yeah, and then the other thing was that I wanted to learn more about programming and coding, and then I tried what was that thing called? CS50. I think that's I think it's on Coursera. I can't even really remember. Maybe Udemy, but CS50 is like an online free, I believe, Harvard beginner computer science course or something like that. And people always advise people to do that one and like then do the Python and then do the JavaScript. But honestly, I just don't have the attention span, and that didn't work out. And then I tried a couple other things, and I took a beginning computer science CS1 course, and I think the same thing that happened with me reading that book about the stock market and investing happened there. Like, I got really confused and it didn't make sense, although some things just started to make more sense, but then a lot of things started to make less sense. And then I got spooked, and then I feel like I took a long time until pretty much very recently to start like trying to learn the code and stuff again. And I kind of wish like that wouldn't have went how that went, and so now I'm working on it again. But like some things just start to make more sense. Like I only went to elementary anyways really, but I do remember like the little bits and pieces of school stuff, and even like when I used to get on Khan Academy throughout my life to try to like, I really had this idea in my head that I was going to like teach myself, and I was going to become a mathematician, and I was going to become a physicist, and I was going to take over the planet. And I think like I had a lot of have a lot of not good expectations for myself, and that's another reason why like I've been having a midlife crisis for 6+ years now. But anyhow, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, I remember like trying to learn algebra and the variable thing and the functions, and none of it made sense like at all. But I feel like I still mostly don't get it, but like when I started learning like computer science or trying to learn it and like some of the code and stuff, it made like the variable thing and the function stuff make a little bit more sense. Like with code, and there's, I don't even know a good example, but like if you put this and you substitute this, and then if you substitute this for this and you put this here, then you get that. I don't even know if that was like a good example at all. Probably not. I think it's way too vague, but it kind of made it make a little bit more sense, but still mostly But I think one of the things about it though with me is that like, since it's fallen angel / Anunnaki technology, the reality is that most people are really never gonna get it, and even the people who do get it really don't get it. Like even with the AI stuff and like the robots teaching themselves their own language, and the robots talking to each other and planning to take out humanity. You know, the long predictive programming agendas that's been pushed for forever that will indeed happen. In fact, I used to say, since before the abuse to evidence channels, that that's what the movie Chucky is all about. Especially the prequel bullcrap Chucky thing, where like there was autonomous driving cars and stuff like that. That really was predictive programming for the AI robot agenda. I'm not gonna lie though, the Chucky movies, the franchise, it exposes a lot of stuff really. In fact, I remember I had finally made that reupload like a year ago about a post I made, I think when I was 14, when I was piecing together the Cash for Kids system, about how the Child's Play franchise really exposes the Cash for Kids system and the human cash cow systems, and how like all the gaslighting and the framing and stuff works when it comes to abuse victims. But anywho, point is, like, maybe some things will never make sense, but like I'm trying to really focus on it now because I'm really trying to like think about everybody. And in the end, going back to the whole savior thing and all that, I know that realistically humanity is really comfortable in our dysfunction and our evil, and some people profit off of it, some people just benefit off of it a little bit, but there's no repentance and no accountability, and people really want what they want. A lot of people want their best situations, but focusing on like me and the people who, like, I don't know, just want to get out of like a bad situation and come together and help the next person. Kind of like this, I don't know, this story I heard not that long ago, but it was probably like a year ago on the Imagination podcast before the channel got banned and she had to make a new channel. Somebody gave this example of some kid at the beach like throwing starfish back into the beach water because something with a tide and them dying. I don't even really remember. And then some guy was like, you're not going to be able to save all the starfish. And then the kid was like, I know I'm not going to be able to save all of them, but I can make a difference for the ones that I did save, or I will make a difference for them. And this was like an example that was being used when it comes to like human trafficking and stuff like that, and Ramco. And it's like that pretty much. And that was like the main point that I was trying to make, even if like it came out a little sideways, I guess. But I mean, it's gonna be sideways because reality is sideways and upside down. And yeah. Another thing is that I also realized that I really need to focus on one thing. And I think that like part of the issue is that, as I realized years ago, even before like I got the iatrogenic metabolic issues and I went from pretty much a type 2 metabolic syndrome category to like a pseudo type 1, even before that happened, I could tell that due to the iatrogenic brain damage and the fact that the drugs are made to turn off the neurotransmitters that make the body work, that I no longer had, I never really had a good memory. I think that's because of building chemicals, to be honest, but my memory got worse and a lot of cognitive issues started to come up and all types of stuff. And I no longer could really focus on one thing or focus on one thing at a time. And of course, the situations that I've been in didn't really help that, but I still do feel like the brain damage is like a big factor for that, because like I remember a point in time where I used to be really good at multitasking, but after the whole drugging thing, like I really can't do multiple things at once, and I can barely focus on one thing either without like getting overwhelmed. Like one thing I noticed starting some years ago is that like if I have like assignments for something that makes me really overwhelmed, then it's like I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do them, and then like procrastination starts, and then getting confused and not really knowing how to do stuff, and it just causes all types of issues. It's also part of why like I could really never do like an online school type thing. But funny enough, with AI stuff, especially for certain things more than others, it does do a good job like actually breaking things down and like giving a step by step. First you do this, then you got to do that, and if you can't find this icon, it's because you're not looking in the right spot. You got to look here. Like that's really helpful, because other than that I'll get really, really confused, and then like I just get more overwhelmed. I also think it has a lot to do with like having unstable situations, and like I have a lot of mucus buildup. Wait a minute. Okay, so ignore that. And feeling like I have to hurry up and do things even way before they're due, for just in case, like I don't know, something happens here, something happens that day, and especially before I started working on curing my health issues, like before I started taking the HCl and the enzymes, and before I got rid of I could say majority, if not all, of the intestinal overgrowths. When I used to like be in all types of pain and have thrown up, diarrhea, all that stuff. Like I would have to just try to hurry up and do things, because like I may be in too much pain to go here to do that day, and I may crap myself and throw up a little bit on the way there, stuff like that. Like that definitely can make things really overwhelming. But when you figure out like how to fix a lot of those issues, or to just really not do things you can't do and focus on the things that you can do, then that fixes a lot of stuff. And so another thing with that is like I did like have a list of things I wanted to learn and do even before I got out here. Like I actually did just about all of them actually, and that's one good thing to do. Like I remember this was definitely like guys speaking through people, but I remember there was a couple of different random people in different states that did not know each other that told me, this was back when I think the first time was when I was 16, that told me to keep a vision board, and I was told by a couple of different people, and so like I knew I wanted to learn farming. I didn't really get to learn that how I wanted to, but I did get to like do some harvesting work, but that's not really what I wanted to do. But that's another story. But I wanted to learn farming, and technically I kind of did that. I wanted to learn about the stock market and stuff, and I did that. I wanted to learn construction, like carpentry, painting, basic electrical, and I did all of that stuff in 2024 to like early 2025, maybe mid 2025. My timing could be really off, but yeah, I did that, and that's also really helpful because like it helps you to like have something to look forward to and focus on. And like I kind of mentioned a long time ago, Eventbrite has a lot of good stuff on there, even free stuff that like you can go to. You do want to make sure you look up to part enough, but I will say that like if you look like somebody that doesn't belong there, no matter how clean and not homeless you look, even if you don't have a book bag or you don't have like, I don't know, even if you look up to part, like there's still just like certain vibes or just things that'll make you look like you don't belong in certain places, especially when you really kind of technically don't. But honestly, the spaces where you're made to feel you don't belong are like sometimes the ones you can learn the best stuff from. Kind of like I talked about in my last couple Young Achiever playlist videos, or my last Young Achiever videos, more so, where I talk about how I went to this tech pitch or this startup pitch, and I wanted to go to the unicorn pitches and stuff like that, but I know the last time I was in Cali there was like some transportation issues, and then it's also like, well, if I go here, I'm definitely not going to be able to get back to where I stay at like the same day. I may have to camp out somewhere, and that means I'd have to have like more extra money for like bus fare and stuff like that, but also means that like I'd have to bring a book bag and bring my sleeping bag and mat because I'm going to have to go to sleep somewhere, or I'm going to at least have to like have the sleeping bag so I'm not cold or whatever when it gets dark or whatever in the world. And so it's like when you have like certain situations going on, there are issues like that come up that like cause a lot of issues and like barriers, and then you got to like figure out ways to work around things. So it's like I remember especially there was this robotics event that was free at UC Berkeley this one day, and I really wanted to go, but it was just some issues with transportation. And then it's like, well, I'm going to have to probably bring my sleeping bag and mat, and that's going to like, it'll be in a plastic bag or a trash bag. That would look even worse, to be honest. Like the sleeping bag being visible would be good either. And it's like, unless I would have found somewhere to stash it where I really just had hope it would still be there when I get back, and then after I would have left, then go get it, it would have just caused like a lot of issues. So there's that, and that's why like, I don't know, things are confusing. It also makes you think about why people like always say that they've never traveled before because they don't have the money for it, because they want to like actually be able to get somewhere, have the money to get back, obviously, and have the money to like get a hotel room while they're there. All that stuff's too expensive though. I would say you could find a way around it that's better, but that's also not an option for everybody. They may not have an ID. Maybe they're in a state like GA where you have to be 21 to get a hotel. But anywho, so point is like there's definitely like some good stuff on Eventbrite that could also be probably helpful towards whatever you're trying to get into, but you definitely want to make sure you look up the part as possible. There's plenty of like job fairs and stuff on there. And then then I was going to get to the point that I was kind of trying to be a welder. I've been I don't know what they call the beginner electrician, somewhat sort of kind of. I've been a carpenter, somewhat sort of kind of. A painter, house painting, not like artist type painting. I've done a couple other things. Author, the artist thing. Although I really only did like the whole trying to sell pictures because like I didn't have any other options. But stuff like that doesn't work in a place like where I'm at now, so that doesn't really matter much anymore. But I've just done a couple things and been kind of all over the place. They were all things that I wanted to learn though. But it's like, just like I was saying in the part 1, that's now titled I Sold My Soul for You. I really like have to focus on doing things that I can actually do, and continue to focus on trying to work for myself, and also not trying to like force myself into things that I can't do because of my health and will never get hired for anyways. And while I did want to learn all those different things that I learned, and I'm glad that I did it, I still do kind of feel like I wasted time, and I really maybe should have did other stuff, but I didn't really have too many other options anyways for things I could have done, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. And so there's that. And I do think about like where I could have been if maybe I would have focused on something else and just focused on one thing from that point in time, from escaping up until now. But I also have to remember that like I really didn't have the options and still don't have a lot of options that I want to have, so I can't like blame myself for things that I wouldn't have been able to do anyways. But I do wish I would have started using AI a lot sooner. And I'm trying to think of what else. Like crap, I kind of wonder like how things would have been if I could have like maybe, at least back when I was at the youth resource center, they had computers there. Like if they would have been open a little bit longer, I wouldn't have like felt so rushed or whatever. I kind of wonder what I could have done from that time until now. I know it's not like a good way to think because it's already too late for that, but what was I going to say with that? And that actually reminds me of something. I have definitely got a lot of things done since I've only really been working on everything since the 7th. Although I did like try to build like an app like a little while ago, a few months ago, but that didn't work out. And I kind of like was like, well, whatever, until I finally decided to try again. But I've definitely gotten pretty far. But doing stuff at the library is kind of like a rush you. Even though on this side of town the library is open way longer than on the other side, the other two sides of town, or the other one side, I don't even know. But like here it's open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on most days, but on the other side of town it's like 9 to 5 or something like that. And I mean, yeah, that's definitely a long time, but when you're trying to figure things out as you go, and it's kind of rushy, and then like it times out after an hour or two. And I think that like since the brain damage, and also just due to things with like different things that have happened, but especially the brain damage, stuff like that really makes me really anxious. Like it's kind of like right when I'm figuring something out and I'm about to like get the response I want from a prompt, or I'm about to like commit a GitHub repository or whatever, that's when like the timer's down to 1 second. It's kind of funny, but it's like I've realized that if I could manage like I guess what I could consider the anxiety, but I really don't like psych levels. If I can manage the anxiety and I can like get more things done and figure more things out, and then things seem to like work out better. But I'm definitely glad to be in a place where like I can just like use the computer and go to the library without having an outline threatening me and all types of weird stuff, and just running around harassing people and kicking people out all day. And that actually reminds me of something that I really could have mentioned and meant to mention, probably will add in to my video that I was going to make titled Homeless Tips, or maybe possibly why I like being in places with a low homeless population. Back when I was in Oregon, in the West Coast, especially Cali, Oregon, and Washington, they have like better transportation, or public transportation, and so like you could ride a city bus from Portland, Oregon to Vancouver, Washington. If
if I'm remembering right. And I remember, like, when you go to these, like, quote-unquote white areas, especially these, like, more so rich and uppity areas, you don't see a lot of avid and allied everywhere. And it's actually really interesting because it's like a lot of the narratives that are pushed that the law enforcement is around to protect the rich people, to protect the people who aren't homeless and stuff like that. But it's like something I often notice is that like when you really go sometimes in like areas with more money, also with like less poor and homeless people, or I guess more so homeless people, that kind of depends, also poor. It's kind of interchangeable, I guess, especially to a lot of people. It's like there's a security and police everywhere. And like I even remember in Washington going to sleep in the parking lot of the transit center after it closed, and there was no security driving around or any of that. And that was really interesting. And also I remember going to a library in Sandy when I was trying to figure out how to get to Mount Hood, because I thought I was told it was somewhere I could go camp at. Then when I went there, it was a ski resort with a whole bunch of Russian people. But yeah, like now looking back, that library didn't have avid and allied and police and stuff. And it's really interesting how all that stuff works.
This also makes me think about something that I heard another street kid say. This was a few years ago, or maybe it was more recent than that, I don't even know. But they were pretty much talking about like something I mentioned in my video titled "The Good Thing About Running Away," and I mentioned as one of those things that still, since you're at the bottom of the caste system, you're seen as like a neglected, unwanted, castaway, lost cause. Most people are either going to treat you bad or just completely like avoid you, like that don't exist, like the whole avoiding eye contact thing. But you still do get to see every now and then that like you are likable and that some people actually do care. But care isn't the same thing as love. Anybody can care about anybody, to be honest. Care is it really revolves around breadcrumbing, but I'm not even going to get into that. But anywho, so this dirty kid was talking about like how people are nice and how they like people's kindness, and some of it does kind of revolve around like hoping that you're going to be able to get your next meal and hoping that somebody's going to like get you something, hoping somebody's going to help you get a jacket. But it's like, you already know that your own parents and family wouldn't want to do those things, so why hope for it from a random person? And I'm not going to lie, random people are definitely way nicer than like family and quote-unquote parents. Well, quote-unquote family and quote-unquote parents, but like for me personally, I don't want to have to hope that somebody will do anything, because I know that makes things more likely to happen and be very delayed. Just like I've said ever since I was like 6 years old, if you want something done, all you got to do it yourself. So I don't want to be in that whole hope thing in more ways than one. And then earlier I was thinking about how like in your abuse situation, especially once you get out here and you get treated funny, you're just completely ignored out here. It also helps you to really start to learn to focus on yourself, although I'm not going to lie, a lot of people are out here and get stuck out here because they're too nice, but that could be its own video. But anyway, to get back to the point. You learn to focus on yourself and to stop trying to be quote-unquote nice, which is really just codependency and being an unpaid therapist and maybe limerence and stuff like that. And to stop, I don't even know how to put it, just stop caring so much about people who wouldn't pee on you or spit on you if you were on fire. And then, I think there was something else. Because let's be realistic, the people who are the most successful by matrix standards, they barely give a crap about themselves, but they definitely don't give a crap about any and everybody. And what most people feel like is being nice is really just being codependent, because people are raised being beat on and going through BDSM pretty much, so they're made to feel like people who love them beat on them and are avoidant. I've even fallen into some situations again recently, which is completely my fault. Not too many, really just kind of like two, where like I've kind of fallen back into this whole thing of like, I don't know, to make a long story short, really I guess maybe annoying people, maybe picking up some false pity bull crap, kind of trying to like pretend that people give a crap who don't. And I just hate it, to be honest, because it's like, when you're the person that rather just be alone and accept being alone, you're made to feel like you're just depressed and paranoid and Debbie Downer, angry and bitter, or like you don't like anybody, which I'm not gonna lie, I started to realize a couple years ago when I stopped being the unpaid therapist, codependent, limerence obsessed, fake nice person that felt like I was being nice by letting people do whatever they want to me and use me, and always being the person that people could talk to, but then of course I never have anybody, and often those people are decades older than me anyways. When I stopped doing that, I started to realize that I really don't even like most people I meet, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like most people. Not that I hate everybody, I don't even feel like I feel enough emotion to hate anyone, but like, we're all just full of crap early, and it's not even, people try to make you feel like you're better than other people, or that you're I don't know, like an angel or something. But it's not about that. It's just about not wanting to be stupid enough to fall for people's bullcrap and like have people kind of like you, or you kind of like people, or those quote-unquote friendships where you and some other person are just quote-unquote friends with each other because nobody else likes you, and you're the only two people that'll talk to each other, and like you both really don't like each other. The other person really doesn't like you, but they just feel bad for you, or they really don't like you, but you're just the only person that'll let them abuse and manipulate and bully you, stuff like that. None of that is worth it. That's all a whole bunch of extra bullcrap. In fact, something I've said for years is that every time I talk to people, I remember why I stopped. And it's not about being better than anybody or any of that. It's just about not wanting to go through the motions. Like a lot of people that identify the CPTSD label, they hide and they isolate because they don't want to hurt anybody and they don't want to get hurt. And I used to say that pretty often, but like now it's not really just about that. I really just don't care for all the bullcrap. And then whenever I do put myself back in a situation, it's just really annoying. It's kind of like, it's like I don't want to do that thing where like somebody does so much bullcrap and then after so long, then you flip out, then they just paint you as a bad guy. It kind of reminds me of something that I realized a few years ago, or maybe in like 2023 or 2024, which I already knew this, but like I was reminded of it. And it's like whenever I feel like I should never talk to somebody in the first place, the situation just gets worse and worse until like I end up having to confront them, or they just flip the switch and act like they're the one that had to stop talking to me, but really there was somebody that I probably should never been talking to in the first place. And then another side of that where like whenever I feel like I should block somebody and I don't, eventually something happens where like they end up blocking me and acting like I was the I don't know, I can't even say the bad guy really. I mean, I feel like we're both the bad guy, but there's another side to it. Just a lot of things aren't worth it, and often the only thing that's really worth it is focusing on yourself. I mean, that's what everybody claims to do anyway, but a lot of people very obviously they hate themselves and they definitely don't like anybody else. Or well, they definitely hate everybody else, because I mean, you're never going to like everybody, but I feel like even the whole liking people thing is just like a mind game. In fact, even the fake minor crisis and fake moral crisis and the distraction that people pretend to care about with the Epstein bull crap that's however many years old, that's also a good example of how funny and weird and fake people are. And honestly, as I said before, especially in my videos about the dronophile agenda, I wouldn't even trust anybody that uses or believes in terms like quote-unquote minor, or quote-unquote, I guess I could say Google Maps. And it's such a weird term anyways, like, why would you only be attracted to people under 18 and then it's like a minor in what part of the world, because that could be under 12 in some places. And I always mention how it's very obvious that 99% of these people don't know the difference between a legal adult and the age of consent anyways, and they think it's the same thing. And there's actually a lot of hidden laws, as I always mentioned, they're federal minor until 26. Then there's the whole 21 drinking age thing in America. But like anybody that really believes in those terms is definitely the type of person that's chasing people around, asking them if they're legal. Going back to the whole, I don't want to have to hope that like somebody will notice or care to get basic stuff, and how we should all already know better based off the things that we have going on or did have going on with quote-unquote parents or whatever. Another thing with that is that most of the people that are really going to notice you and actually like not avoid eye contact with you, pretend you're not there, just constantly call the cops on you and try to get you in jail because you're at the bottom of the caste system, they're going to be predatory people of all types, and I mention this all the time. From the types of usually always women that I consider letting help you lunatics, quote-unquote, to the sexual predators. Like, those are the people that are really going to notice you. The sexual predators are going to be the ones that will really notice you and offer you food and a jacket or a blanket or whatever and different things like that. Maybe even a hotel room because they want to R-word you and molest you and all that. The let me help you lunatics are going to notice you and offer you stuff and try to get you to move in with them because they're a deranged woman who wants kids because all her kids escaped or got taken by CPS. Or she's never had kids, or she just wants to manipulate you into being a part of her cult and then talk junk you and accuse you of stuff and get all in your business and throw up your trauma and different things in your face, different stuff like that. Those are going to be the main people that are even going to notice you and even offer you anything. And it's not worth taking unless you really need it. Although personally, I would never move in with anybody. But most people are going to be desperate and aren't able to handle being alone, so they're going to fall into the whole girlfriend, boyfriend, fake adoptive parent that really just wants to essay you stuff. And especially that whole fake adoptive parent that really just wants to essay you stuff, that's especially really easy to fall into. But that could be a whole video of its own. And it's more of a reason why it's just better to focus on yourself and figure out what you can do to help yourself. And just forget about things that you can't get yourself and whatever. And just focus on basic needs.